Hey, I don't know if you guys know this, but all of you here were a woman once, or at least part of one, when from 1 to 8 weeks, when you're still in the belly of your mothers, your brain was predominantly female. And then, you're born, you come into this world, and lots of things happen, and you meet a lot of people, and even though you're on this world with a lot of people, there is one predominant perspective, and that perspective is masculine. But don't worry, I'm not here to moan about that. Well, these guys were like, whoa. I'm not here to moan about that. I'm just here to kind of present a new approach and a way to apply it. So this new approach is the feminine, not feminist. And because I think women and men have to invent more things with the feminine values in mind, I think the world will be a better place, and Gavin wouldn't be so pissed off. With that in mind, I just wanted to kind of go back a little bit, and then if we start thinking about, laws, policies, products, and services, all of these things were created from the masculine values of competition, assertiveness, confidence, and these are great values, right? I'm not saying that these are right. But just the word created from those values is not enough. We need to create more things with more feminine values, like, for example, a lot of those you've seen here today, like vulnerability, connection, collaboration, and yes, I am going to talk a little bit about collaboration. So what would the world look like if men and women invented more things from that perspective, from the feminine perspective? If you think about feminism, what feminism has done is feminism always thought about women's rights, and that's valuable. That's really, really valuable. Important things like, right to vote, equal pay, fair representation of women in the media. These are all amazing things. But the thing with feminism is that women were fighting and they were demanding rights in a men's world. So what happened if, instead of demanding for their rights in a world created from the masculine point of view, what if they created their own world with their feminine point of view? So I just kind of that was a big realization for me, and talking to other people, and I just realized that would be super amazing. And even though feminism was amazing and created a space for a lot of things, I think it's time for us to go into the next step. And the next step is the feminine, not because the masculine is wrong, but just to counterbalance. I think men and women in this world had to kind of let that feminine pull through. And I think we're going to start seeing a more creative world, and I think we're going to solve a lot of problems together. So if you think about, what feminism done was the next step, and if it's like a bridge to the next step, and if the next step is the feminine, how do we get there? And I'm going to try and tell you a little bit of a personal journey, how I got there. As you can see, I've got a gringo accent. I'm Brazilian. I was like dancing to like Holodoom before. And I spent most of my childhood in the Amazon jungle, it's true. Show me a snake and a spider anytime. And I started my working career in London, and I was actually a programmer back in '94 when the internet was just starting. And I was a programmer, then I went into being a designer, and then I went into the world of advertising. And like Luke, who presented here before, I was feeling like a fish out of water because I was working, even worse, I was creating in a place where none of the values I redeemed important were taken into consideration, so I was really frustrated and I didn't know why. And I kind of moved on and moved up. And when I got up there, I did what a lot of women do, and I think you heard this all before. Ready for it? It's like, wait, where are all the women up here? So the feminist in me decided that I was going to do something about it, right? I was going to do something about it. And what I did, I co-founded an organization called She Says back in 2007 with Laura Jordan Bambach. And what we did is, like, outside working hours, we created an organization that kind of helped women in the creative industries. And we do kind of events. We have a free events. We have a free mentorship scheme called Who is Your Mama instead of Who is Your Daddy. And we have an award scheme. We have courses, career management. We do a bunch of things, and we're doing a bunch of things all out of a passion project outside working hours, like really scrambling it. What started in a room with like 5 of us in London is now over 8,000 of us in 22 cities around the world, like a bunch of women creators. I say 8,000, it was the last time I tried to count because it's a decentralized model. The cities do whatever they want to do. I don't count anymore, and it doesn't matter how many. So I created this thing with my co-founder, and it was growing, and it's still there, and it's vibrant, and it's great. But guess what? Something was still missing, and I couldn't quite figure out why. And then one day I realized I was helping women succeed in a men's world. I was giving women all the tools that they needed to be successful in a world where they haven't created any of this. It wasn't their values. So I was like, okay, so I'm gonna create something like my own company, and it will be completely like how I want it. I'm gonna create my own company, and it's gonna be great. And by the way, I much rather create my own company with my own values than lean into like another person's company with very masculine point of view without having both the masculine and the feminine POV. So in 2011, I started Shout. Shout is like a collaboration platform for creatives, and we do advertising and creative work. So let's say we have a client, the client puts a brief up, and it's not a physical space, it's a site, something online, that people register and go, and they work on the briefs. They work on the briefs whenever they want, with whomever they want, and they can comment on other people's ideas, and if the client likes your idea, you get paid. If the community likes your idea, you get paid. And even if nobody likes your idea, you still get paid, because by participating in comments, you get points, and the points equal a dollar amount for the best performance. So I kind of went into the world that I knew, the world of advertising, and I was like, okay, I'm going to remodel it and recreate it, recreate the process of creation from the way I want. I'm going to apply the feminine value of collaboration, for example, and construct a company around that. And I'm going to do it how I want it, and invent more things. And I did it, and I did it for 2 years. And guess what? Something wasn't right still. And what wasn't right was the fact that I created a company, and using the feminine values of flexibility and collaboration, and I understood what collaboration was, but I wasn't really practicing true collaboration. And that's the bit that gets a little bit anal. It's very hard to get real collaboration. And that's why also why Gavin is pissed off. Because to get collaboration right is super hard. First, most people confuse collaboration as a super misused word. Most people confuse collaboration with coordination and cooperation. Coordination is when we're all working towards a goal, right? But pretty much staying out of each other's ways, right? Which is what happens in most working life. Most of the 9 to 5 is that. We are working towards a goal, and we're staying out of each other's ways. Now, cooperation is when we actually help each other achieve our goals. We're helping each other achieve our goals, but still, while we might create something new, what comes out of that is still an individual effort and not a team effort. Like you've seen some things today that it's still an individual effort, even though they're saying it's collaboration, not a team effort. True collaboration is when everybody works towards the same goal, creates something new, and they're all owners of the idea, and that's why it's so hard to do. You change as the vision changes. The idea is not one person's, it's everybody else's. And that is true collaborators. True collaborators work on this manner, what's mine is yours. And that's the main difference. So most crowdsourcing and crowdfunding are examples of great cooperation, and Shout itself was a great example of cooperation, but it wasn't true collaboration. So if She Says was the feminist in me and Shout was the feminine, how could I actually get to practice that? What does it take? How can I take it to the next level? How can I create a company around feminine values that actually practices these values, like the value of true collaboration being one of them? What was missing? Well, it was actually missing the right kind of people, the right kind of men, and the right kind of, and the people with the right frame of mind, because it's very difficult to get it right. How many times did I say that? Anyways, so enter Broadly, and Broadly is our new company. Broadly is like a mobile first. The best way to explain it is like a mobile first platform that digitizes this ethos of the startup ethos of introducing introductions. For example, if you're trying to do something, you're trying to start a company, I'll go, oh, I know exactly who can help you, or so it kind of digitizes that in a fun and useful way. And Broadly was created with the feminine principle of collaboration in mind. And how do I know I got it? And how do we know that we got it right this time? Because when we were working, lots of things happened that made me think, oh, this is what true collaboration is. I finally learned it. I'm finally practicing that, that feminine value. What happened was, first of all, we have no titles, and that got us in trouble because, it was very hard to register the company because there were no titles, and we were forced to choose a president, and we're like, because even the way you register companies is like super one point of view, which is masculine, and I think we need to think about how to register companies from a feminine point of view. So that was one of them. It's like there's no titles. The second one was really interesting. The second one is that we completely forget, when we talking about ideas, we completely forget whose idea it was. We seriously cannot remember. Was it my idea, your idea? We would just kind of feel like we're building it together. And the other thing that for me that was like, oh wow, I never thought about that. It was like we started working, looking towards what we could do in the future instead of thinking about each other's past. And that was so bizarre because like 6 months in the project, I was loving working with these people, with Mark, with Claudia, with John, with Matt, and I was like, oh, I wonder what did they do before? And I never checked. And I checked, and I was like, whoa, these are really cool people. But when we started working, we were always looking what we could do in the future, not what we've done in the past. So, and then I felt a little bit happier because I think I practiced the feminine values and I achieved, and I knew I practiced feminine value through collaboration, and that was just one of them. But guess what? This whole journey took me 10 years. What an idiot, right? And I'm here today because I wish it doesn't take people that long. I wish the next generations kind of have the feminine ingrained in their brains, because we all already have the masculine, so we just need the other side. And I'm like, I guess I'm the living proof that it's through collaboration, practicing these values is hard to get, because another way of thinking is so ingrained in our brains, and I'm not saying that that's wrong, but that you have to forget everything you know and let the new things come in. Because I'm the living proof that actually just being a woman is not what this is all about. I think it's amazing and great that women are creating and inventing more things, but that's not the final answer. The final answer is men and women inventing things from the feminine perspective, because we already have the masculine and we will balance things out. So we will be more of a balanced planet. And, so what I would say to you guys today is, it's hard to practice this thing. Just try through collaboration for once. Like, next time you try and practice collaboration, just think to yourself, Am I looking at these people's past too much, or what they've done, instead of what we're going to do in the future? Am I willing to let go of my personal attachments in lieu of a shared vision? Am I willing to grow as the vision grows? Then you will know you're practicing true collaboration. And like I said before, I'm practicing, and that's just my first. I feel I have many other feminine values to practice. And as I said before, this is not about women. This is about men and women working together to balance things out. And I urge all of you here today to kind of go back to that brain that you had when you were like 1 to 8 weeks old, still in the belly of your mothers, and practice true collaboration like you did also in the belly of your mothers. And that's it.